Okay. Welcome to generating an account on Farm. Today we're going to walk through the process of generating an account on Farm. So I think it's going to be fairly quick, but we'll see. So first, who's eligible for an account on Farm? Any researcher in CAES, so the College of Ag and Engineering Sciences, is entitled to free access to 8 nodes with 24 CPUs and 64 gigabytes of RAM each, and 1 terabyte of storage space. So if your graduate group or undergraduate degree or whatever is within that college, you can sign up for a Farm account. Otherwise, additional usage can be purchased by contributing to Farm and buying into it. Not all of these researchers that are listed over here have bought necessarily into Farm, but you can see that some people on campus have bought into it. So if you go to this webpage, which I've listed up there, and scroll through these options, you can see whether your PI has purchased in, and that will tell you A, if you have access underneath them, or B, if you have more access than you might otherwise with your CAES allocation. Just in case you want, yes. Yeah, I'm so bad at not talking with my hands. I will try very hard. Right, okay, so here's the list of the people. In case you want to buy into Farm, here are the numbers as of 2019. It's $8,800 for 64 CPUs and 256 gigabytes of RAM, 22,000 for 96 CPUs and a terabyte of RAM, 17,000, 1,000, and extra money and that sort of thing. I'm assuming that most researchers who find this video will not be the ones who want to buy into Farm, but just in case, there are the numbers. Yes?
Just make a note, if you get the free access, you still have medium and low priority access to any of the other jobs that are unused. So the idea is that if you're a researcher and you bought into it, you get high priority access to the nodes you purchase. But if those nodes aren't being used, then anybody else who submits jobs can get on them. We bought the free access tier so that even if every single researcher submits high priority jobs and uses up their quota, there's still nodes free for people who have free access.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to repeat that into the microphone. So there's the free access tier, which is what we were describing on the previous page, so that even if every other piece of architecture on the computer is being used, there's still access for people who have not purchased in. But if the people who have purchased in have not used all of their resources, you still have medium and low priority access to those resources as well. I didn't actually know that it worked that way. That's really wonderful.
Yeah, no. We want you to use that seconds.
I should have started using Farm way earlier. Anyway, it's fine. I took it over eventually. Okay. So what do you need to get an account on Farm? Either a CAES affiliation and an account sponsor, or an account sponsor, or and you need a key file pair. So what is a key file pair? So you can think of it like a lock and a key, where the lock that's, let's say, on the outside of your home door is public facing and anybody can see that. So they can walk by your house and see the lock, and it doesn't make your house any less secure. But the key that you keep in your pocket is the key to unlock that lock. And if it becomes public, that private key that you're keeping in your pocket, anybody can unlock your home door. But as long as you keep that key to yourself, no one can unlock it. And these things are encrypted and use pretty good technology that nobody has been able to break yet. So even though everybody's looking at the public half of your key file pair, as long as you've kept your private key private, so not shared it on Slack, not emailed it to people, not put it on a GitHub page or any other public avenue, it is private and nobody else can access the thing that you are trying to lock. So in our case, we put the public key file onto Farm, and it sits there, and then you keep the private key file on your computer, and then you can use that private key file to unlock your access to Farm. And this is more secure than a password, although you can also password protect your key files, and then they're like ultra secure. Okay, so what does a key file actually look like? You'll get 2 files that are like this, but they're just random numbers and letters. In them, they'll say whether it's a public or a private key. So at the beginning of this one, we can see that it says begin RSA private key, and then at the bottom it says end RSA private key. This is not mine. I found it on the internet. Example key.txt is the name of this one. Right, so this would have a public friend that is usually shorter, sometimes shorter, but basically looks about the same. On some systems, the public key file ends with a .pub and the private key file ends with a .pem. Otherwise, you can just look at it and it'll say private and public. But you don't want to share the private key anywhere. Only share the public key.
If you accidentally share your private key, you can upload a new one.
Really?
Yeah.
Learning so many new things. If you accidentally share your private key, you can upload a new one, a new key pair, and replace it. How do you do that? Through the system with the accounts?
The same way. Just email help, say I'd like a new, upload a new public key and private key, and then they'll swap it out, and then it's done.
That's really cool. So how do you generate a key file? We're going to walk through that process now. So if you're on a Mac or a Linux, you open a program called Terminal. And if you're on a Windows 10, you can open the Linux subsystem, the Ubuntu subsystem. And then if you're on a different type of Windows, then you need PuTTyGen. If anybody who's doing this, can you raise your hand? What type of operating system do you have?
I'm probably doing it on Linux.
Oh, you're not doing it today?
I actually came on behalf of a colleague.
Oh, cool. Okay, great. So I'll just walk through it then. So if you are using a terminal, then you would open your terminal. So anyone except PuTTY people, and you would type SSH keygen. So let's go ahead and do that now. My terminal looks pretty different than, what was that? Oh, whatever. So I'm in my home directory right now. Key files tend to live in a certain location on your computer. They can live anywhere, but a lot of times they're going to live in a .ssh folder. So you could go into that folder or make that. And if I type ls, I see a bunch of key file pairs that I have access to. Some of them are just the private key, and some are the full key file pair. If I want to generate a new key, I run SSH keygen. And if I press enter, it says generating public private RSA key, enter the file in which you want to save the key. You could press enter. I don't want to do that because it would overwrite. Right now it's trying to make a new key file called ID_RSA. I already have ID_RSA and ID_RSA.pub. So I'm actually going to zoom out and type a different name. I'm going to call it temp, TMP, because it's temporary for me. I do not want to password protect my key file because I trust the key file security, and I don't want to type extra characters frequently because that hurts my hands. So I just press enter, and then I press enter again to enter the same passphrase. The key fingerprint is, and then key random art image. If I scroll up, we see that your identification has been saved in TMP, your public key file has saved in tmp.pub. So if I type ls, I now have two new files, tmp and tmp.pub. I noticed on your guys' documentation that it says, unless you know what you're doing, don't type anything different. Is that, could I name it farm key or something like that instead?
Absolutely. Because all you're going to do is just email that up to help, and they're going to put that in the directory, you know, NFS mount.
Okay.
SSH by default will try to get the RSA. So like, if you don't want to specify the key all the time, it's a good default. But if you have more than one key and you do that again, you will overwrite your computer.
Okay. So what Louise just said is that SSH by default tries to use an ID_RSA. So if you're SSHing into something and you need a key file, it will default to using that one. So that's also less typing. But if you do this a second time, you're going to overwrite that key file. So then using different names can be useful. Okay, so then now you have this key file pair. And then what you would do, we'll go back to PuTTY in a second. is go to the website that's listed up here, and then fill out that you want farm CAES, and then that you either select your sponsor or that you're in CAES, and you upload your public key file here. And then you click submit, and within approximately 24 hours, unless it's a holiday, you will have a farm account. Yes?
When you say in CAES, is that your PI?
So PIs can buy in from all over campus.
Yeah.
So if you have a PI on a farm, you can get access to their group. Because the way it's structured is that the PI has a group account, and then when you join in on there, then you have access to whatever they purchase. Okay. The free accounts are for CAES affiliates right now. If the cluster gets much bigger, I just might have to list the campus.
Yeah.
Okay. So free access to CAES, anybody.
Yeah, not like our PI, he is not a member of CAES.
Yeah.
Yes, but he's following the clusters. Yeah. So, but the PI would initially have to open the account?
No, what'll happen is what that form does essentially is if you say, I want to take Titus Brown as my PI,
yeah,
and he'll get a note saying, do we want to add so-and-so to your group? And he says yes, and then they add him to that group. And then when you log in, you have access to everything that Titus Brown has purchased, plus anything else that's on Medium or Web.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so then for people on Windows, the alternative is to use PuttyGen. And so you would install this thing called Putty Key Generator, and then click generate, basically, and it generates a key file pair that then you could follow the upload process as well. And that's only if you don't have the Linux subsystem, because if you do have the Linux subsystem on your Windows, you can use SSH keygen from there. Okay. Then once you receive your account, to actually access farm, you would type SSH, and then -I designates where it says this is my key file. So you type the path to your key file. So mine happens to be in my .ssh folder under key_name.pem. Great name. Probably should have said something like farm instead, but whatever. My username, and then @farm.cse.ucdavis.edu. So if I do this, SSH-I, and then the path to my key file, and then my username @farm.cse.ucdavis.edu. It logs me in. There's some helpful messages like how much farm costs to buy in, and then the next downtime and where to get help. And then to get out of farm, and I can tell that I'm on a new system because my prompt now says @farm. And then to exit out and get back to my computer, I would type exit. What questions do you have?
So for farm, doesn't matter what's the name of your key, but if you want to change your key file to something else now.
I will do that later. Thank you.
Yeah, if you don't put the I, if you put an I, so that's specified key file. If you don't put an I, it just uses ID-RSA.
Okay. Great. We are around to answer any other questions that you might have. Let's see.
There is a type on the name of the NVIDIA card.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Tesla.
It's what?
Tesla. It's NVIDIA Tesla.
Oh, Telsa, yeah. Bug bill. There's also, I think, one of the things that like 175,000 instead of 17.5. And those rates will be renewed.
Oh, well. Okay, how do I'm gonna unplug now. Thanks for coming. Hopefully, so we recorded it, so then we'll put the tutorial link on, we have like a help, it's kind of like a Stack Overflow that we run in the lab.
So it's the blue link there to just start to I put the link that you had on the opening slide, but if you put the presentation somewhere.
Yeah, can you show me? I never did that. Can you show me how to upload it to YouTube?
So YouTube, sure.
Okay. And then
but I mean, even the slides, like there's a link for the slides if you want to put the slides somewhere.
Yeah.
Right now I have the bottom link there.
Oh, I understand. Okay. I'll do that too. But what I was going to say is if this video you think will be helpful to anybody else, it will be available.
Great, thank you.